FPL Gameweek 32 team selection on the FPL Joe YouTube channel. With the deadline fast approaching and big decisions to be made on chip strategy that will define the rest of the season, we'll be going through all the options available for your team, the top teams to target, and the best players to buy. And of course, all timestamps are in the description if you want to skip to a specific part. So let's kick off with a quick recap of blank Gameweek 31 to see what we're working with in my team. 52 points all out, a small red arrow from 54k to 69k. And this week, no surprise, the MVP goes to Bruno Fernandes, adding another 13 points to his tally. Since returning from injury in Game Week 21, he's only blanked twice in 11 games, which is unreal consistency. But that's not why you're here, so moving swiftly on to Game Week 32. The big question for many managers, including myself, do we wildcard this week or later, and do we free hit in Game Week 33 or 34? Starting by looking at the teams to target with a free hit in blank Game Week 34, so ignoring that week in the team rankings. Here we see a clear trend towards Game Week 33 doubling teams. Leeds, Brighton, Man City and Chelsea all sharing some of the best upcoming fixture runs. Slightly further down, we see Bournemouth, Burnley and Crystal Palace, all of whom have doubles coming up, but with tougher fixtures overall. I've not highlighted Burnley or Palace, as with Burnley there simply aren't enough good players besides Dubravka worth major consideration. And with Palace, we'll have opportunity to grab a few of their players in time for the Game Week 36 double. The idea here is to load up on players for double Game Week 33, eyeing up a bench boost in this week. Alternatively, looking now at a free hit in double Game Week 33. With this plan, we'll be wildcarding in Game Week 35, so we're only actually looking at Game Weeks 32 and 34 for this team ranking. And this is where, in my eyes, the cracks start to show for this chip strategy. The idea here is that with many of the doubling teams in Game Week 33 having tougher fixtures in Game Week 32, we hold on to our existing squads for the next few games, instead bringing on a team of doublers on the free hit. But the issue here, are the teams that we're holding on to actually that good? Based on recent strong fixture runs, the key teams that many managers are invested into are Man United, with Bruno and either Cunha or Mbeumo, Maguire and Dogu still being unavailable, Arsenal with Gabriel, Rice, Raya and Saka, Timber unfortunately still a doubt so we can't rely on him here, Liverpool with Virgil, Ekitike, Wirtz and Salah, Brentford with Thiago, Dango, Sharda and Kelleher, Fulham with Wilson and Anderson, and finally Newcastle with Gordon, Chow and Hall. And the reality is that the fixtures that these teams have really aren't that much better than the ones you'd expect to be getting if simply opting to go for the double Game Week players from Game Week 32 onwards. But of course, that's only half the story, and one of the major ideas with a late wildcard is to use the latest information and the ability to target Palace players in double Game Week 36. So let's now have a look at the other side of a wildcard in Game Week 35, looking at all the fixtures from Game Weeks 35 to 38. And this is the graphic that ultimately locked in my plans for an early wildcard. We see that 4 of the top 5 teams, those being Leeds, Man City, Brighton and Chelsea, are the same teams already doubling in Game Week 33, the same ones that we're buying on an early wildcard. The only 2 teams we wouldn't be investing in heavily would be Arsenal, who will have a solid last 2 games, and Palace, who will have their double in Game Week 36. But these don't go to waste, with the opportunity to target both of these teams with free transfers in these weeks, bringing in the likes of Sarr, Lacroix, Timber only when they're needed. And so, for my team in Game Week 32, I will be activating the wildcard and overhauling my team with eyes firmly set on a bench boost in double Game Week 33. And to do that, first up, targeting Man City, I'll be bringing in O'Reilly and Semenyo. Alongside Haaland, they make up the seemingly optimal Man City triple up for their upcoming doubles. These 3 have been top performers in recent weeks, in particular during their recent 2-0 cup win over Arsenal and 4-0 cup win over Liverpool. For Chelsea, I'll be making 2 moves, bringing in Palmer and João Pedro. With Chelsea's defence disappointing since Rossini's appointment, there's minimal desire to add a third Chelsea player from their back line. Enzo is an option in midfield, especially if too tight on funds to reach Palmer, but bear in mind that he won't be available in Game Week 32 due to internal suspension for misconduct. And then turning my attention to Brighton, bringing in Verbruggen, Van Hecke and Matoma. A great set of budget enablers plus a punt on Matoma. Now back from injury and returning comfortably to the starting lineup, he's immediately lined up for potential returns against Burnley this week. And then on to Leeds, I'll be adding Darlow, Struijk and Calvert-Lewin. Another great team for budget enablers, with the best long-term fixtures of the bunch. With Stack out, I've opted to go for Calvert-Lewin over Welbeck, utilising that midfield spot with Brighton's Matoma instead. There's also the concern that, with the short turnaround on the double game week, Welbeck may not start both of those games. But nevertheless, a solid differential option if you do want to go there, and some of the best upside of any forward. And lastly, adding an extra Bournemouth player in the form of Tavernier. A solid pick on penalties, although potentially shared with Krupi when he's on the pitch, and at a great price. I can't express quite how lucky us non-owners have been in recent weeks. He's hit the post numerous times and racked up XG for fun. There'll be few players more due a return than him. And for Game Week 32, I'll then bring in Calvert-Lewin to the starting lineup against a still slightly leaky United defence. And now looking ahead to the big double game week. Here, I'll be activating my bench boost, and I'm a major advocate for realistic bench boosts, meaning you actually start the 11 best players when playing the chip, as it's the only way to truly evaluate how many points you actually scored from the chip. So for realism, we'll be swapping Bruno Fernandes and Tavernier, and Gabriel for Struijk. And with the models predicting upwards of 20 points for this bench combination, I couldn't be happier with the picks for this chip. Some people do prefer not to bench boost with any single game week players, if avoidable, arguing that if you're going to do that, why not just bench boost in a single game week? The idea here is that these aren't just any single game week players, they are the two best players in the game right now, Gabriel and Bruno Fernandes. There simply isn't a single game week that would ever see these two relegated to our FPL benches. This only happens when we've got a stacked team of 11 plus double game week players, and with their respective ceilings, we could capably outscore the alternative doubling players. So now back to Game Week 32, and on to Captaincy, looking at predicted points courtesy of FPL Review and Fantasy Football Hub. Yet again, no question, the informed Bruno Fernandes gets my team's armband this week. The vice-captaincy goes to the new addition Matoma for Brighton's fixture against Burnley. Drop a comment with any final questions that you need answering for your team, and I'll respond with my thoughts before the deadline. If you enjoyed the video, dropping a like does wonders for helping the algorithm show this video to other FPL managers, and if you do want to see more from me, get subscribed to the channel. I only put out 1 or 2 videos maximum per week, summarising all of my thoughts, research and analysis into a quick, easily digestible video, and I'm pushing to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and I really appreciate all the support until then. Best of luck, and fingers crossed for another green arrow.